Barrett Jones, I hope you're having a great day, man. Welcome into the game in Tuscaloosa.
What's up, Ryan? Having a great day, man. How's life in T-Town?
Oh, life is good. Life is good. We spent a lot of time talking about Mississippi State. You were on the call, man. I'd love to get your thoughts and hear your analysis.
Yeah, it was an awesome call. Really had a lot of fun calling it, and thankfully did not drop any wheeze. So that was a big win. But no, it was a great game. One of the best games I've seen all year. Just overall as far as entertainment value, and obviously there are some concerns on defense. I think the linebacker depth question was answered, and it was a little bit concerning. But I think you look at the fact that we now have 2 weeks essentially to prepare for Auburn. Even though I know Coach Saban would pull his hair out if he heard me say that. Now that I'm a member of the media, I can overlook Mercer, and so I will do that. I think obviously learned a lot about the team and found out that they have a lot of grit, they have a lot of fight, and then in big moments, Jalen Hurts is still the guy who you want the ball in his hands. I think it was an incredible last few drives in the fourth quarter. Showed a lot about this team and finding a way to get stops and hold them to a field goal so that the offense could have 2 touchdowns. I thought that 3rd and 15 play was really an awesome moment in the season. So to Calvin Ridley, it was just everything really worked perfectly from the coaching staff, calling the 7-man protection from Damian Harris to cutting the guy in the hole, to Calvin Ridley running a great route, to Jalen putting it on him with great timing. It was really a perfect play at a perfect time. So an awesome football game, and Mississippi State, I thought, really played hard, played well, and ran the ball very effectively and was very impressed with them overall.
Barrett, I'm guilty of it, and I know a lot of other people are as well. You poke fun at Starkville and you call it Stark Vegas, but I was impressed with the atmosphere of that game. I mean, it would rank in the top 3 or 4 games when we talk about hostile environment. Man, they brought the heat. That was a fun place to watch a college football game.
It was a lot of fun. That's the first time I've been back since they filled in the end zone. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was loud. With obviously the fact that they are allowed to use artificial noise makers certainly helps. But the cowbells, I think my ears are still ringing from that because we were actually outside. So no, it was definitely loud. It was a great atmosphere, and I thought it was a great place to watch a football game. The stadium really looks nice. I like what they've done with it. Those jumbotrons are really nice, and the field. For some reason, the Mississippi State field is always so pristine. I don't know if you've noticed that, but just the actual grass on the field, it's probably the best around. And in Alabama, we have very, very good field, a very good field too. Anyone that comes will tell you that. But for whatever reason, Mississippi State has a great field too. Anyway, I know that was the question, just kind of a tangent there. But no, it was definitely a fun place to watch a football game, and obviously, particularly the way the game ended, that was a lot of fun too.
Barrett, I want to go back to that fourth quarter, and there were some comments that when Jalen Hurts told folks to get on the bus, that I'm driving the bus. I think that's what he told ESPN, told some of the players. Let me ask you, I know leadership is all over that football field. Obviously, I mean, you were a great leader here at the University of Alabama at several different positions. But when a quarterback shows that type of confidence, that swagger, you could see it in the guy's eyes that he was not rattled. What do they call it? Ice water in the veins. What does that do for the other 10 guys when you see your quarterback respond like that and you believe in him, the confidence like that teammates showed in him?
No, I think you can certainly sense that. There's something about a quarterback who has that kind of huddle presence, particularly in big situations. You can kind of almost sense that he's about to go out there and make big plays. And Jalen's had that ever since the first time he was here. We've talked about it several times before, but he led what would have probably been known as one of the greatest national championship drives of all time against Clemson as a freshman to get a touchdown and take the lead late in the game. Obviously, it was overshadowed by an even better drive by Deshaun Watson to follow that up. But I think that he absolutely exudes confidence. I think he's grown a lot in that area this season, just in the way he's stepped up and really kind of taken control of this offense. There was no doubt where the coaching staff wanted the football in those last few drives, and it was in Jalen Hurts' hands. He was very impressive, and even even in some of those read option kind of plays that he had, one hand that when to run it, they really wanted him making all the decisions down the stretch. And I think you can see why in the way he handled it. He kind of said, "Put the game on me," essentially, and that's what the coaching staff did, and it really paid off for this team because there was a time in that third quarter or early fourth quarter where it looked like Alabama was about to lose the football game. I think you can probably everyone in the stadium kind of felt that a little bit, but no, Jalen definitely kind of righted the ship and got everybody on board. And when you have a quarterback like that, you kind of always feel like you got a chance to win the game. And I think that's the kind of confidence he inspired in these guys.
You think Dan Mullen played for overtime there, that final drive?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really think so. I think even that third down quarterback draw, if it had worked, it would have been really really good. It obviously didn't work, but no, I don't really feel that. I just think Mississippi State, the way they run their offense, are really not set up for a 2-minute drive. I think if they would have played for overtime, they would have run the ball 3 times, and the half might have been over. So I don't know. I didn't get that sense at all. But I'm sure that when you lose a tight game like that, you're probably going to be second guessing everything as a coach. But I thought Dan Mullen and his staff really did a fantastic job of preparation. They had a great game plan and executed it almost to perfection.
J.C. Hassenauer, after the first drive when Ross Pierce-Baker went down, he came in and played at that left guard spot. What'd you see from the young man?
I thought he was okay. In pass protection a few times he got beat, but I thought in the run game he was a little better than I expected, and was a pretty solid, serviceable backup. Obviously, we'll be glad if we can get Ross back at some point, but other than maybe 1 or 2 times in pass protection, I didn't think it was that bad. I thought I was impressed with the way he stepped up and was ready to go in that spot.
Let me ask you from a chemistry standpoint of the offensive line, when one of your guys goes down, is that hard to sort of work in a backup guy and how quick? I mean, I'm looking for excuses of maybe some of the offensive line maybe didn't perform up to kind of what we're accustomed to. Is that a valid excuse when a guy goes down? You try to build that team chemistry in a hostile environment. Is that more difficult than maybe
That's definitely part of it. I mean, that's obviously never ideal when you have a guy go down. It's something that Alabama not had to deal with this season. But I think that Mississippi State's defense is very good, and they played very well against Alabama. Had a great game plan and really attacked them in the right way. And honestly, I thought Alabama's offensive line again was not as bad as someone thinks it was. If you go back and watch the tape, and they really did some nice things, particularly in the second half and down the stretch. They did have a slow start. But down the stretch, they really played pretty well in those last few drives. And, I know that there's a whole game, obviously, and it's not just about the last few drives, but for better or for worse, that's what people will remember. And I thought they came up big when they had to and had some really some solidly blocked run plays. And, that's really, obviously, Jalen made the big plays down the stretch, but there was some really solid run plays in those drives that kind of kept the chains moving. So, I thought it definitely wasn't their best performance, but it wasn't quite as bad as everyone's making it out to be.
All right, knowing that this game is Mercer and Auburn is upcoming and it is going to be a great showdown. We've talked about Auburn all year long. How hard is it as a player to not look ahead to the big Auburn game?
I don't think it's that hard. I mean, obviously, I'm sure guys are thinking about it, but the way Coach Saban approaches it and the mindset he gives the players, I think he does a really good job of that, obviously, of keeping guys focused and, helping them keep their mind on the task at hand. So, I'm sure they'll do a good job of staying locked in and figuring out how to be Mercer. I think everyone knows they know what's ahead of them, but I think they also trust the process. It's not like you can spend, you need to spend 2 weeks preparing for Auburn. I mean, they know, it's been the same coaching staff there now. There's no secret about what Auburn's going to do. It's not like it's, a super difficult game to prepare for. So I think it's the guys understand that, that time will come. And obviously, Auburn's playing very well right now and probably in a lot of ways look like the best team in the SEC on Saturday, just by the way they played against a Georgia team we all thought was pretty good. So it'll be a great game, and a game I'm obviously excited about seeing. And I'm sure the players are excited, and I'm sure Coach Saban kind of loves secretly that the momentum is shifting to Auburn, and people are, that's more and more people are starting to pick Auburn in that game. And but I think it'll be a great football game. And I've talked all year about Auburn, how I thought they really were a pretty good team, and lately I've kind of been down on them because I felt like they really didn't show up in big moments. But I think they really showed up and kind of played the game I thought we were. I think that we all thought they were capable of playing. They played really hard, played with a lot of fire, played with a lot of passion, particularly on the offensive line. Defensively, they've been pretty solid all year, but they kind of just put a complete game together at a really good time, and looked like a really formidable team. So I'm excited about it. I think Big Iron Bowls are awesome, and it's going to be another one and just another chapter in a great rivalry.
What would happen? No, never mind. I'm not going to say it. I just wonder if somebody in that staff or that building happens to mention the upcoming Auburn game to Nick Saban. I wonder what he would say. I mean, I'd love to like there was a part of it that I wanted to see somebody ask the question yesterday in the press room about backups, or you expect the backups to get reps against Mercer, and just to see Nick Saban explode, but nobody was gutsy enough.
I think they've learned by now. That's probably not the best course if you want to keep your media bad.
Yeah, you're right. Hey, Barrett, let me ask you from a player perspective, and we asked your former offensive line buddy Mike Johnson on Monday about this. How would you describe the Alabama-Auburn game from your perspective to an outsider that maybe doesn't understand the intensity of this game?
Yeah, it's definitely a very intense game. I think it's a lot of fun. Just the importance of it, the fact that all that goes into it, and I always told you I don't think I really understood the Alabama-Auburn game until 2010 when they beat us, and Cam Newton was there and he was pointing at us and laughing, and that's kind of when I really understood exactly kind of the passion and the. That obviously a lot of fans have had. I don't know if anyone. We've had two bad losses, I guess, in the last decade. That 2010, and obviously the other one I'm not going to save a year of. But I think just moments like that have obviously fueled a lot of emotion and passion about the rivalry, and it's always a lot of fun to beat them, and always a lot of fun to play these kind of games. So it always feels like there's a little extra gear in the crowd, no matter if you're down in Jordan-Hare or if you're in Tuscaloosa. It's always going to be an awesome game. And I think if you're an Alabama player, even if you didn't go to, even if you're not from Alabama, I think this is why you come to Alabama, is to play in games like this. And so I think a lot of people won't be shying away from the challenge. They'll be excited about the opportunity and the moment and the stage.
Well, I'm just going to go ahead and put this on record. I think this Auburn team could beat the New England Patriots, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Dallas Cowboys, all of it, man. I'm going to make them deal with rat poison for the next 2 weeks, man. At Auburn team, I'm not even sure we should even go down there, Barrett. I think it's already.
Well, I'm glad you're doing your part, Ryan. It's very big of you.
Hey, I'm just. Be honest though. How hard will it be for them? Because that's going to be a topic. I mean, we have Alabama fans calling into this program a day that's saying, "Hey, if we don't play very good," and I've been guilty of it too. I said, if we play like we did three quarters in Starkville, then we'll probably get beat. But how hard is it for Auburn to have to deal with maybe some of the outside noise of this game and hearing the talk for the next couple of weeks and sort of dealing with?
I don't know, Ryan. I've never been that much.
I know you have.
I know. I just think right now, if you're Auburn, you're going to want to keep focusing on continuing to execute your offense. That's what's improved so much, is the way they've executed offense, and the way Chip and Gus or whoever's calling the plays over there, the way they're calling offense right now is much improved from the first week of the season. They seem like they've really kind of learned how to use Jarrett Stidham and the attributes that he brings to the table, and so I think that you really just want to focus on improving. And they obviously probably feel pretty good about where they are, or about where they're playing, but I think a lot of how they play in that game will be about how they prepare in the next 2 weeks. And I think the same applies to Alabama. If they want to play well, they need to prepare well in the next 2 weeks. And that's what Coach Saban will say. You have to earn the right to play well in those kind of games by the way you practice and the way you prepare.
Barrett, you have an assignment this weekend?
I do. I'm going South Carolina versus Wofford.
Okay.
Yeah. So. Wofford's actually a pretty good team, so watch out for them. They're 9-1.
9-1.
Yeah, they're really pretty good. So it might be a good game. You never know.
Okay. Well,
I actually had some good ones this year. So I got to call that Arkansas Coastal Carolina game a few weeks ago. There was even though Coastal Carolina was not a good team, they were 1-7, but somehow I took Arkansas down to the wire.
It's amazing, when you look at the talent and you look at these seniors and chemistry and all this. I mean, we saw a couple of mid-majors come into Bryant-Denny the last couple of years and play Alabama close for some of the game, but Nick Saban generally takes care of business against unranked teams. Barrett Jones, I'm going to throw it back to you, man. We always have a chance to talk about our faith and have a little scripture as we travel throughout the week.
Yeah, Ryan, tonight I'm in 2 Corinthians 5, verse 21. It says, God made him who knew no sin to be sin on our behalf, so that we might become the righteousness of God in him. I'm going to read it one more time. God made him who knew no sin to be sin on our behalf, so that we might become the righteousness of God in him. Yeah, Ryan, every other religion in the entire world, not that Christianity is really a religion, it's more of a relationship, but every other religion in the entire world can really be boiled down to one simple trait. It's really about what you can do to get to God, the things you do in life to achieve a relationship with God. And so, if you ever ask me what's the biggest difference between being a Christian and anything else, it's not about what we did. It's about what Christ did for us on the cross. It's not something we have to earn. It's not favor we can earn, because I believe that really that kind of mindset really leads to a life of striving and unhappiness and unsatisfaction, because you're always wondering, was I good enough to earn my way to God or earn my way to heaven? Whereas the Bible says that it's written so that you can know you have eternal life if you have a relationship with Christ. So that's where this peace that passes all understanding comes from, in this relationship with Christ, and the fact that it's not about what you do, it's about what Christ did for you on the cross. Now, again, your life should be a response to that, and it should be holy and pleasing to God. Doesn't mean you should go out and live how you want to live, but it just means that you shouldn't rely on your good works to get to heaven. Last thing, I just think that more people than I'm always surprised how many people really live their lives in that way. Even in the South, where we think everyone's a Christian, probably 9 out of 10 people I talk to about the Bible and about Christ, when I ask them, why they think they're going to go to heaven, I would say 9 out of 10 people still tell me something to the variety of, I've been a good person, I've been to church, and I've done this and I've done that. If your answer to that question starts with something you've done or something, then I got bad news for you, is that you're never going to be good enough to earn your way into heaven. That really the only chance you have is by relying on what Christ did for you on the cross and relying on his righteousness, not your own.